Bureau.
What's going on, everybody? A very happy Tuesday to all of you. It is Pushing the Limits, and I'm so glad all of you are joining us. You could be listening on the FM AM dial, of course, in Las Vegas. You could be watching on the Occupy Democrats Network. You could be on my YouTube page, the Occupy YouTube page. Washington Press. There's so many different avenues where you can watch and listen to this show, and we appreciate all of you joining us. It is the fastest growing show in the Valley. There's no question about that, and the most interactive show. We have a lot to get to today, and we have a staunch Donald Trump supporter and somebody who is running for U.S. Senator out of Las Vegas who is going to be joining us in studio here in a few minutes. His name is Edward Hamilton, and he's going to be joining us here in just a few, and certainly a lot to talk about with him. He has a lot of criticisms for Democrats. We're going to dissect that and talk to him about it. I want to start the show right off the bat in talking to you about something that I believe is a very serious topic, but yet not surprising what comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. I've always said that Sebastian Gorka is a despicable human being and a disgrace. So it wouldn't shock me, and it doesn't shock me, that this is somebody that's worked for Donald Trump. And Sebastian Gorka interviewed Donald Trump yesterday and started talking about Israel and the subject of people who are Jewish in this country. Donald Trump has said a lot of horrible things, and he continues to say a lot of terrible things. But boy, I'm not sure it gets a lot worse than what he said about Jewish people yesterday. Have a listen to this, and then we'll dissect it.
I actually think they hate Israel.
Yes.
I don't think they hate. I think they hate Israel, and the Democrat Party hates Israel. Any Jewish person that votes for Democrats hates their religion. They hate everything about Israel, and they should be ashamed of themselves because Israel would be destroyed.
Let me tell you something. You sick son of a bitch. You don't tell me what it is to be a good Jewish person because you're a terrible human being. You want to say that every single Jewish person in this country must hate Israel and must hate their religion because they don't want to vote for a liable rapist? You sick, demented turd, you. You don't know what it's like to be a good Jew, but you also don't know what it's like to be a decent human being. The guy who wants to lecture every Jewish person in this country, and by the way, those comments are absolutely ridiculous. The idea that if you don't vote for a Republican, or in this case, you don't vote for Orange Man, somehow that makes you a bad Jew, or you hate the Jewish religion, or that makes you hate Israel, is beyond idiotic, and I think anybody with an IQ over 20 would tell you that. This is a man who wants to lecture us about what it should be or should be to be a good Jewish person. A man who only cares about himself. A man who is a liable sexual abuser, the judge, again, characterized it as rape, as would I. A man who's never been loyal to one woman in his entire life. Cheated on Melania Trump, had unprotected sex with a porn star just months after Barron was born, and now we've learned that Stormy Daniels will be testifying, or is at least allowed to testify with Michael Cohen and others in the case in New York. This is a man whose own ex-wife, under oath in a deposition, accused Donald Trump of raping her, with 25 other women who have alleged the same. This is a man who has been sued civilly thousands of times in his life, who's made despicable comments about women on their looks. He's attacked POWs like John McCain. He's called some of those heroes suckers and losers. He said he didn't want black people in his casinos counting his money, but he wanted Jews counting his money. This is a man who has lived a despicable life because he's a despicable human being, a liar, a cheater, a snake oil salesman, and unloyal to everybody, but yet he wants everybody to kiss his feet. He wants everybody to be loyal to him, a man who looks up to evil, murderous dictators. Now facing 91 felony counts, he will be a convicted felon. And this is the guy that is trying to lecture people like me on what he thinks it takes to be a good Jew. And because I don't vote for a liable sexual abuser, somehow that means I hate Judaism. Somehow that means I don't support Israel, which obviously I do, not only are these comments idiotic, despicable, and ignorant, but they're also extremely offensive. Where are the Republicans? Where are the MAGAs calling it out? Well, I'm glad the Joe Biden-Harris campaign put out a statement, because this is beyond the pale. And there are idiots on the right that are saying, oh, remember when Joe Biden said, you ain't black if you're not voting for me? Well, first of all, Joe Biden apologized the next day, said he was sorry. And Joe Biden didn't say, you're not a real black person or you hate black people if you don't vote for me. That's what Donald Trump said about Jewish people. And again, Joe Biden apologized for his statement. You won't get an apology from Orange Man. The Joe Biden-Harris campaign did put out a statement, and I'm going to read it for you verbatim. They said the only person who should be ashamed here is Donald Trump. Trump openly demeans Jewish Americans and reportedly thinks Adolf Hitler did some good things. He said the only person he wants counting his money are short guys wearing yarmulkes, and praised neo-Nazis who chanted Jews will not replace us as very fine people. Trump is going to lose again this November because Americans are sick of his hateful resentment, personal attacks, and extreme agenda. I hope that the Biden administration is right. I agree with that statement. This is a man who has praised Adolf Hitler, who has attacked everyone that disagrees with me, or I should say disagrees with him. He's attacked everyone. And now he's making these despicable comments about Jewish people. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. It's offensive, it's hateful, it's disgusting, but you won't hear them talking about it on Fox News tonight. Sean Hannity won't be playing this audio. No. They'll be talking about Hunter Biden's penis. Laura Ingraham won't be playing this audio. Sebastian Gorka didn't challenge him like any decent human being that has any talent at all that does interviews would. No, Sebastian Gorka agreed with him. How could you be Jewish and run a radio station and allow this stuff to be put forth on the air? How? How? I'll take it a step further. I'm not going to say you hate your religion. I'm not going to say that you don't support Israel. How could you be Jewish and support Donald Trump, especially after these remarks? There are so many good people that are Jewish in this country that happen to vote on the Democrat side. Doesn't mean they hate Judaism. There are rabbis that are Democrats. It's an absurd statement. I know rabbis that will not be voting for Donald Trump. Does that mean they don't support Israel? Does that mean they hate their own religion? Of course not. It's a ridiculous statement. It's an idiotic statement. And Donald Trump, again, is a disgrace. How can you support somebody like that? Well, listen, we have a guy coming in studio next segment. He's running for senator, and he's nice enough to join us. He knows that we're going to get into it. He knows that we're not going to agree, and that's okay. His name is Edward Hamilton. He's running for U.S. Senator. He is a staunch Donald Trump supporter. So I'm going to ask him about this. I'm going to ask him why he supports Donald Trump. I'm going to ask him what he thinks about these comments. That's going to be coming up here in just a few minutes. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to be joined in studio by Ed Hamilton, who's running for U.S. Senator. He's a staunch Donald Trump supporter. And I'm going to ask him what he makes of these comments and many other comments. And, of course, he's going to give us his criticisms of the Joe Biden administration, and I welcome that. I welcome a good debate, and we will be taking your phone calls as well. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
My name is Hunter Kane, and I'm talking with you for a call to action for our veterans in Clark County. Who is Hunter Kane? Well, I'm a decorated combat veteran, veteran community leader, and candidate for Clark County Commission. Do you know no veteran has served on the commission in nearly 30 years, which is why our veteran homelessness, unemployment, and suicide rates are out of control. So here's the call to action. June 11th, vote veteran, vote Kane for Clark County. Let's rally behind someone who's been in the trenches, who knows the sacrifices, and who's committed to making a real difference. Join the campaign by searching Elect Hunter Kane on social media or go to www.electhunterkane.com.
Voters want safe gun reform, ban military assault weapons, including AR-15s, have universal background checks, and red flag laws. I am Eva Chase, a candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 16, U.S. Air Force veteran, college graduate, progressive independent candidate, fully transitioned transgender woman, former lieutenant governor candidate for Nevada in 2022, where I received 7,212 votes in the Democratic primary. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. Donate to my campaign bot fund account and stay progressive.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Residents of Las Vegas Ward 5, are you ready for a brighter future? I would like to introduce myself, Dr. Erica Smith, your People's Choice for City Council, with a vision for progress and the fortitude to make it happen. I am committed to moving us forward. I am not just a candidate, I am a fighter for you. With myself on the City Council, you can expect a real change and a community that thrives. Vote for Dr. Erica Smith, because together we're building a better tomorrow. To learn more about me and my campaign, go to www.ericaforlasvegas.com, paid for by the Vote Dr. Smith Committee.
Did you know that 99% of air conditioning issues start with airflow issues? Well, guess what? Pioneer Air has your back. They've been operating for 20 years in the industry within the Las Vegas area, large enough to handle all your air conditioning and heating needs, but small enough to know your first name. Pioneer Air focuses on preventative care, much like wellness checks for humans. They believe in wellness checks for air conditioning and heating systems to extend the life of the system you own. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your wellness check with Pioneer Air today. The number to call is 702-831-4840. Here's the best news. Mention this ad and you'll receive 10% off. Call Pioneer Air today. 702-831-4840. That number again, 702-831-4840. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're just joining us, we've been talking about Donald Trump's comments he made about Jewish people in this country. Apparently, you must hate your religion, and you don't support Israel if you're Jewish if you don't vote for Donald Trump. Absolutely ridiculous. We'll get to that in a moment. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at Pioneer Air. We had Leo from Pioneer Air come in studio. It's going to be getting really warm out there, especially in Las Vegas. Everywhere, it's getting warm. And you got to make sure your air conditioning units are working properly. They have scheduled maintenances, dedicated hotline, repair discounts, and if you mention the name of this show, you're going to get a special deal. Please give them a call. Pioneer Air. Ask for Leo. 702-703-6346. And again, that number is 702-703-6346. I always like speaking to different types of candidates. Trump supporters, not Trump supporters, Republicans, Democrats. Anybody who knows me knows I interview more Republicans than Democrats. I don't want someone in studio that agrees with me on everything. I don't want a love fest. What is this, the 60s? Woodstock? So the guy joining us in studio right now, he is a nice guy, and he's a stand-up guy for coming in studio. He knows we're going to get into a little bit of a disagreement, but that's okay. His name is Edward Hamilton. He's running for U.S. Senator. He's a staunch Republican, which is okay. He's a staunch Donald Trump supporter. And Edward, you're a stand-up guy. I do appreciate you coming in studio and being here, even though you did have some reservations, I think. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. How are you, my Jewish friend?
Look at this getup you're wearing. You're wearing like this cowboy hat, and you have an American, what would you call that shirt? American flag shirt?
American flag. You know that there are 13 Republicans running for the U.S. Senate.
Yes, there are.
So I believe in marketing. You got to be different.
I understand.
You got to be different.
I agree.
So this is my campaign persona.
People call me different. I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, if you're not different, the reason people like you is because you're different.
That's true. Not everybody likes me, but that's true.
Right.
So let me ask you this to start. I'm going to go right out of the gates because this was the segment we did before. I know you're a Trump supporter. I know you're a Republican. I know you don't like the Joe Biden, and we'll get to that, okay? But when you hear Donald Trump say, and you heard the audio that I played, that you must hate Israel, you don't support Israel, and you must dislike your own religion if you don't vote for Donald Trump. This is a guy who you're supporting.
Right.
You can't support that sort of rhetoric. I mean, what do you think when you hear that?
Well, first of all, let me pitch my own campaign. I have here a $10 bills. It's got my name on it, Hamilton, and there are 13 people running, so I need the voter to know, where I'm at.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
I get that, sure.
Now, you got to be able to separate between the man and the policy. Okay, and President Trump, when he was in the White House, he's got all the Republican agenda implemented. Supreme Court is now conservative. Tax cut, giving us up to $26,000 in the last 6 years in our pocket.
Biggest tax cuts to the rich in the top 1% under Trump.
That is the propaganda from Biden. That is not true. The reason the economy is so good is because what President Trump did. He brought back $1.5 trillion overseas come back to the United States.
Okay,
well, wait a minute. Let me explain the economy. This is the Trump economy and deregulation.
I'm going to give you plenty of time to praise Trump in any way you want to. And if you want to talk about policy, I'm happy to have that conversation.
Well, you're talking about why I like President Trump.
No.
You got to split between...
I'll ask you that.
Yeah.
But I want to know specifically what your thoughts are on the comments that he made about Jewish people in this country.
Okay, now, President Trump, his daughter converted to Judaism. Okay, he is not anti-Jewish. And he likes Netanyahu. Democrats, Schumer and Biden, are pitching for the destruction of democratically elected government in Israel.
But what does that have to do with the statement that he made?
Well,
it doesn't excuse it.
He was disappointed because Schumer and Biden tried to overthrow the government that was elected in Israel. Remember, he said Netanyahu got to go down. Now, can you imagine if Netanyahu had said Biden should abrogate his position? So he was mad about it. He did what no Democrats ever done, which is to bring the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
A lot of good that did.
Well, a lot of Jews like that.
Well, I don't really care what people like.
No,
I care about what's going on in the Middle East.
We're in the subject of Jewish.
Right.
Now, you guys like you will call Bernie Sanders a self-hating Jew, right?
I've never said that.
I mean, people like you probably would.
I've never said that.
Because he criticizes the government of Israel also.
I don't think there's anything wrong with criticizing the government of Israel. I do think there's something very, very wrong with Donald Trump saying if you're Jewish, you must not support Israel and hate your own religion.
Well, what about Biden calling if you...
Why is it always what about?
You ain't black if you don't support...
Let's talk about that. I'm glad
that's the same thing.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Biden means it.
First of all, here's the fundamental difference with what you're talking about.
Okay.
And by the way, I did mention this 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
First of all, Biden apologized. That's number one. Donald Trump.
Okay, he would do it again.
Okay, well, he didn't.
That's his style.
So he didn't.
They insult, they apologize.
Okay, but Donald Trump doesn't apologize for anything.
So if he apologizes tomorrow, it's okay then.
He didn't say. Well, first of all, saying you're sorry for something you said is the step in the right direction, which Trump never does. Let's just be clear on that. You're not black if you're not voting for me. What Joe Biden didn't say was, you don't support black people if you're not voting for me. That's what Trump said about Jews. You don't support African Americans. You don't support minorities. Donald Trump specifically said, and you heard the audio, not only do you not support Israel being, by the way, it's an offensive thing to say, to make that assumption about all Jewish people that happen to vote Democrat, but if you vote Democrat, you hate your own religion. There is no comparison between that comment and what Joe Biden said. And again, Joe Biden admitted he was wrong because he's a decent human being. Trump is perfect, right? He never makes any mistakes. Can't you just say, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, I want you here to share your own opinions, that was the wrong thing for Trump to say and it was offensive? You can't admit that?
You know, I'm pretty sure that he will apologize.
I guarantee you he won't.
This is politics. How do you know Biden wasn't thinking about what you said? In the 1990s, when he pushed for that crime bill, which was anti-black, remember he said,
but that's a policy
wait
disagreement.
A minute, hang on a minute. What you say about Republicans, you got to say about Democrats.
Okay.
Biden is a racist too.
Why is Biden a racist?
Everybody was a racist then. But now through the civil rights movement, we got consciousness and we got rid of racism.
What do you mean we got rid of racism?
Because
would you say that to Ahmaud Arbery's family?
No, we
didn't get rid of racism.
No, wait,
It's still here.
We've got the civil rights movement. It got rid of racism from the government. Okay,
but
now each individual,
Right.
it's up to your religion, to your education to get rid of it. We want to do that. We want to get rid of racism and any other prejudice through education.
Sure.
But through legislation. Now, Biden was anti-black in the 1990s. He said that, because of crack is mostly smoked by blacks in the ghettos. So he passed that law that put thousands of black people in jail, incarceration. And he apologized. That is the Democrat style. They say outrageous things and then they apologize. And people like you said, that's fine. Now, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't say it was fine.
I said this is a step in the right direction.
I think it's a step in the right direction to
pretty
admit when you're wrong about something.
I'm pretty sure Trump will do the same thing.
I guarantee you he won't. When has he ever apologized for anything?
He did.
When? When has he apologized for something?
I can't think of it right
because
now.
Because he hasn't, Ed. He hasn't. He doesn't apologize for anything. And, No,
he said I misspoke or something. For example, earlier in the week, he said something about bloodbath. He was talking about the auto industry because Ohio and Michigan.
So why didn't he say that then?
They got auto workers.
Why didn't he say that?
He did say that.
No, he didn't. In the
he
second,
said, he said it's because the bloodbath is in the auto industry.
No, he didn't. We have the audio. No, he
didn't.
The direct quote is, it's going to be a bloodbath for the country. He did not say a bloodbath for the auto industry.
You know why for the country? Because people will be laid off.
Okay, but he didn't say for... Okay,
but you are reading into it. You are reading into it.
Here's why I don't give him the benefit of the doubt. If this was somebody like you or, I don't know, anybody that maybe has never made derogatory comments about women, about POWs, hasn't made derogatory comments about black people saying, I don't want black people counting my money in my casinos, I want Jews counting my money. If he didn't say all those things, then I would say, you know what, Ed, you're probably right. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I'm not going to give someone the benefit of the doubt who's a liable rapist, who has been despicable to women his entire life, and makes these comments about Jewish people. I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know exactly what he was talking about. This is the same guy who incited January 6th, and if he didn't lie about the 2020 election, we'll get to that. January 6th doesn't happen. So I'm not going to sit here and defend Donald Trump, and I understand you're a Trump supporter, and that's fine. That's why I wanted you to come in the studio. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he didn't mean bloodbath. Let me tell you something. A guy who's made all these despicable comments, and it has a history, shouldn't even use the term bloodbath. And I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. If you want to, that's your opinion, and you have the right to do that.
Democrats use outrageous words also.
Give me an example.
Let's talk about Israel first, okay?
Sure. Give me an example.
I'm a Trump supporter.
Okay.
However, I'm critical of Netanyahu.
Sure.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Because we Americans, we send that 2,000-pound bombs. They've dropped 3 kilotons of those bombs in Gaza. Hiroshima bomb was about 12, kilotons. We dropped 100,000 people are hurt, 30,000 died. Hamas must be eradicated.
I agree.
But Netanyahu has to be, having a targeted attack, not killing civilians and children. Now, he's in a difficult situation in Israel, okay? And everybody's turning against Israel now. And Netanyahu says, and I agree with him, he has to do the job once and for all. Otherwise,
right, with a response.
Come back again.
What do you disagree with what Joe Biden said in the State of the Union? While Hamas are the terrorists and they started this, Israel does have a right to defend themselves, but Israel does have a responsibility.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Okay, so you agree with Biden.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I disagree
As
with
do
Republicans.
Right.
Republicans are saying, no, go ahead and, drop those bombs. And we supply those bombs.
Right.
Those bombs cost about,
Okay, so we agree. We agree on policy when it comes to Israel.
Policy,
okay, so we agree on that. But let's go back to what you said earlier. You had said that, hey, Democrats do the same thing that Donald Trump does.
Yeah.
I want examples, because if you can give me an example of a Democrat that has said some of the despicable things that Donald Trump has said over the years, even the other day, then I'll call that out. I'm happy to do so.
Yeah. Well, I can't think of it. I'm not prepared with that, but I have a list of what the outrageous statements made by by Democrats. There's no doubt about it.
So, Mr. Hamilton, you're running for senator,
right?
Do you believe in democracy? Do you believe in this country, and do you believe in our democracy?
Let me explain. Of course, I believe in it, but America is a constitutional republic. When America was founded, there wasn't a democracy as such. Democracy was going back to Greece, right? We develop our own democracy through constitutional government. So let me talk about my campaign. I'm campaigning as a Nevada first candidate, as well as America first. America first is Trump, but I'm focusing on Canada. I want to I have plans to bring back the $2 a gallon gasoline at the pump.
How do you do that?
I am a manufacturing engineering executive. Number one, in the Senate, I could get the government to release the liquid gold. We've got oil and gas fields in northeast Nye County, Eureka County, Elko County, White Pine counties. We're going to make our own oil and gas because people need, natural gas is going up double in Nevada. We can make our own oil. We're going to use the Alaska model, make our own gasoline. And then we make our own jet fuels for the Nellis Air Force Base.
Listen, I am all for that.
And then, because I believe in peace through strength, I'm Nevada first. So I want to get Nye County to once again start the tactical nuclear deterrence. That program was started by President Kennedy, and that was canceled by Bill Clinton. So that's my idea about being Nevada first, doing everything for the family in Nevada, because prices are just simply too damn high. I want to make affordable housing. In China, if you read the news, in China, they built 60 million apartments in 2 years. 60 million. Okay, and most of them are going under now because of the recession. Surely we can build 500,000 here. I'm talking about IKEA-type homes, small homes, dormitory type, small, to get the homeless under, shelter.
But you said, okay, so make Nevada first, make America first.
Yeah, right.
Do you really believe Donald Trump thinks about America before himself? He thinks about people like you and me before he thinks about himself. Do you really believe that?
He thinks about both. He is a capitalist. And according to Adam Smith, you must believe in yourself first. If you don't believe in yourself, you cannot help other people.
If he believes in himself first, then why does he wear 5 layers of makeup, and why is he so insecure and a petulant child? If he believes in himself, I think Donald Trump is the most insecure.
You don't think Biden wears makeup? You don't think so? You could tell they're covering up his,
You think that's comparable? Donald Trump looks like a clown when he's in public.
What's the difference between a little bit of makeup and a lot? Makeup is in the show business.
I'll tell you what the difference is, because Donald Trump is a fraud. He wants you to believe that he's a billionaire, and his attorneys yesterday.
Hang on, he's
a fraud.
Let's talk about makeup. Do you think guys that are transgender women wearing makeup, that's bad?
I don't care. I'm going to be honest with you.
You brought up the makeup stuff, okay?
Here's the truth. I don't care if somebody wears makeup or not. It's not a big deal. Right. Why am I bringing up...
I don't wear makeup.
Right,
so.
And that's fine. I don't care if you do. Why am I bringing that up about Donald Trump? I'm using it as a metaphor.
You just hate him.
No. I'm using it as a metaphor.
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump has never been honest, and he's a snake oil salesman. Why do I say that? Well,
people in politics are like that,
Not everybody's like Trump.
Nancy Pelosi, and
You think Nancy Pelosi is comparable to Donald Trump with the way they've lived their lives?
Well, I'm talking about they are politicians. They do anything. They'll say anything, to get political advantage.
Hillary Clinton. Okay, let's talk about the 2020 election.
Okay.
I know you're not a Hillary Clinton fan, and listen, I get it. You're a Republican.
Right.
I get it. You don't like Democrats. You don't like their policies. You don't like Joe Biden.
Okay.
That part I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even though I might not agree with you,
Yep.
it makes sense. I understand. I don't agree with you, but I understand.
Yeah.
This is the part that I can't get past.
Okay.
And it's a Donald Trump question, Mr. Hamilton. You have a family, I would assume, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have kids. You have a family. How can you, and I'm not saying this to shame anybody like Nancy Mace would say, I really don't understand it, and that's why I want to ask you this. How can you support a man, because he has an R next to his name, who is a liable sexual abuser? As much as you dislike Joe Biden, how can you say, I'm going to support that guy because I like his policy, even though he might have sexually abused a woman that a jury decided?
See, those are just propaganda, and those are
It's a
just
jury.
lies. Those
It's a
are lies.
jury.
Yeah, but there was a rig everything. You know, this
How
indictment.
is it rigged?
This indictments. You know, this is the way the Democrats are turning America into a Stalin-type state. We are moving into
The
communism
justice
here.
system is Stalin? I don't understand.
It is now because the Justice Department prosecute only Republicans.
But Mr. Hamilton,
for example,
a
Navarro
jury
went,
of Donald Trump's peers.
but those jury were rigged.
How do you know
okay?
that? Where's your evidence that it was rigged?
Okay, number one, the Justice Department, there's 11,000 lawyers there and paralegal and staffer. They handpicked the grand jury. The grand jury,
That's how our
hang on, the grand jury in D.C., all Democrats. The grand jury, 100% sure, will come up with an indictment. The indictments are fixed. And then
This wasn't an
when
indictment,
you
this
go
was a
through a
civil
jury,
case.
when you go through a jury selection,
Yeah.
you know, you cannot get a change of venue, so everything is rigged. The indictment is rigged, and he's going to appeal to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will overturn
This is
everything.
but this is a
That's the beauty
civil-
of America, checks and
Okay,
balances.
So this is a civil case, and you're claiming that it was rigged and that this wasn't a sexual assault. And you.
No, you know, it's still in progress. I don't believe that it hasn't been proven at all.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, a jury already decided that there was
this
enough
is
evidence.
a civil jury.
Right.
They're not talking about indictment from a criminal
isn't a
standpoint.
criminal case, it's a civil
It's
case.
not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's only preponderance of the
Okay,
evidence.
so you
okay?
don't. So you don't believe that. So let me ask you another question then. His ex-wife in court documents in a deposition under oath said that he raped her. Was she lying as well?
You know, talking about ex-wives, who knows?
So if it's an ex-wife, you don't
I
think
don't
it's
know.
credible.
I do not know.
You don't know. All
Because
right,
it is customary for ex-wife, ex-husband to say bad things. Okay?
Do you think Joe
So
Biden's
I
a
don't know.
pedophile?
Pardon me?
Do you think Joe Biden's a pedophile?
Well, I don't think so, but his behavior,
So could be a pedophile.
sniffing, depends. But what is the definition of pedophile?
Somebody that's attracted to young children.
Maybe not having sex, maybe just attractive. I don't know. But his behavior is reprehensible. You know, sniffing little girls.
So
and
would you
stuff.
say Donald Trump's behavior is reprehensible too, or you're not willing to go that far?
Like I said, you're talking about the trial is not done yet, okay?
I'm not talking about
a
the
trial. Will have appeal, but you're talking about the justice system, right?
Okay, but hold on a second. You said Joe Biden's behavior is reprehensible. I would disagree with you. I think that he seems like I understand if you don't like his policy.
What about that woman who's suing him and she got shot down about 3-4 years ago?
Sure.
His staffer, you know?
I'm happy to talk about that.
But the
so-
media will not take that up.
No, the media did take it up. The reason why the media is not
Well.
talking about it now is because there is no case. It's not ongoing.
Well, everything is always no case, just like the thing
Well, I'm
with,
gonna tell you the
with the
difference.
election in Nevada. Okay, they're filing a lawsuit right now. You see, we're moving
The
toward.
leader of your party in Nevada has been indicted for a fake electorate scheme.
Well, that is again a fake thing.
That's
okay?
fake. Why is it when it's only Republicans held accountable, it's fake? but when
Because-
it's a Democrat, it must be okay.
Because it is done by Nevada Attorney General, who's a Democrat, who didn't do anything until the
Gotcha.
Georgia situation.
What about
came
the
up.
Republican judges that are presiding over Trump's case? Would
These
you
are
say
not-
they're rigged as well?
What? In other words,
Trump appointed judges that are
I
Republicans.
know, but little by little, they're getting acclimated right now. They don't have the backbone. You see, America's moving toward communism, where the government, in communism, the government will select who the opponents are. They use the justice system, the grand jury, the trial, the fake jury. They're going to indict Republicans. And Republicans don't do that because we go to the fight with a knife when you should have brought a gun.
Well, okay, so hold on. Let's go back.
Democrats bring guns.
Okay, well, I think Democrats are the ones that are trying to pass laws
No, the expression.
when it comes to guns. But
the expression.
anyway,
Don't bring a knife
all right,
to a gunfight.
I understand.
Okay.
So you said that Joe Biden's behavior is reprehensible.
Yes.
When Donald Trump says he doesn't respect John McCain because he was captured, goes after Ted Cruz's wife based on looks, would you also agree that maybe that behavior is reprehensible as well?
It's all in the campaign, in the heat of the campaign.
So it's not
Okay.
reprehensible.
In the heat, it could be reprehensible, but
Is it?
in the heat of the campaign, it's a different type of interpretation. Biden did the same. Democrats did the
Joe
same
Biden
thing.
didn't. No, they didn't.
Democrats
Give me an
did
example.
the same thing. You're saying Democrats
Give me an
always
example.
clean,
Give me an
always clean?
example.
Well, just go through all the story about what Democrats are doing.
What do you mean go through the story? When you make a claim like that, you got to give me an example.
Democrats use dirty tricks and everything.
So give me an example.
For example, this guy Navarro today, he was an advisor in the White House.
Navarro, who's going to jail.
He went to jail
he's a
today.
felon. He's going to jail.
But you see, because he refused to testify, contempt of Congress.
It's
now,
not,
hang on a minute.
It's not justifying a subpoena. You got to look at the charges.
When that that woman for the IRS, she got contempt of Congress also. It was referred to the Justice Department, but the 11,000 Democrat lawyers did not prosecute her.
What do you mean,
Lois Lerner.
What do you mean 11,000 Democrat lawyers? I don't understand.
In the Justice Department, you got 60, 70,000 employees. The prosecuting department are mostly Democrats. 11,000 lawyers, paralegal. These are the people like this guy Smith, you know.
Jack Smith?
Jack Smith.
Not a Democrat.
Well, I'm talking about it is a Democrat-controlled staff.
Jack Smith has been doing this for decades. He went after Democrats like John Edwards and Menendez and others.
But I'm saying
that he's not a Democrat, though. I don't understand.
That departments are always keyed on prosecuting Republicans who are threatening the Democrat thing. So that department is almost like a Soviet system.
Maybe don't break the law?
Well, contempt of Congress, break of the law? Because a lot of Democrats got convicted of contempt of Congress, like Lois Lerner of the IRS. Remember prosecuting the Tea Party 11 years ago?
Okay.
The contempt was referred to the 11,000 people. They didn't do anything. And a lot of other people got referred and nothing is done. But Navarro and Steve Bannon, because they're a threat to the Democrat system.
Navarro was convicted. He broke the law.
Again, that was a D.C. jury. They can convict a ham sandwich. You know the professor in Harvard? What is his name again? He said a grand jury can convict a ham sandwich in
Okay, but we're not talking about an indictment. He was referring to an indictment. We're talking about a conviction.
First you have an indictment.
Right, and then you have a conviction.
And then you come up to a jury, and the jury is rigged. Washington, D.C. jury
but when
is
you use
all
the
Democrats.
But when you
They're
use the
all
term,
Democrats.
that's not true. There's no evidence to prove that every juror. So you're claiming every juror in Washington, D.C. is a Democrat.
About 85% of them.
Where do you get that percentage from?
That's a well-known fact.
Where do you get that percentage from?
That is a well-known fact.
Okay, I've never heard that percentage.
Yeah.
So when you use the term rigged, you're one of those people that still believes that the 2020. Tell me if I don't want to mischaracterize your stance. You believe the 2020 election was rigged as well, correct?
Let me explain it this way. I don't know. Because we were not allowed to present evidence. All the judges...
But you've said before on the record that's rigged.
Yeah, all the judges are scared to death here in Nevada. They don't want to touch the case. So none of them were ever...
What case?
The 200,000 evidence that the
there was no evidence. There was no
Nevada
evidence that was
Republican
provided.
Party brought boxes and boxes of affidavits.
Right, and it was looked at. And it was looked at, and there was no...
It was not looked at. Barbara Sagapsky, who is a Republican rhino, she only spent 40 hours to investigate 250,000.
Right, because they found that there was no credible evidence.
Because she was scared. Because
there's no evidence that she was scared.
No evidence.
So she's a rhino because...
You don't look through the papers. She didn't. Her staff did not look. Her staff are Democrats, okay?
So what was in those boxes? Did you see what was in those boxes?
They just throw them away. They don't even look at it.
Did you see what was in the boxes?
Affidavits from voters.
You saw the boxes?
Well, I read about it. I did not personally look at it.
Where did you read about it from? From a right-wing website?
No, Review Journal.
So the Review Journal claimed that the election was rigged in Nevada and Donald Trump won.
Did not say that.
Okay.
I'm only saying that the evidence, they need their day in court.
Donald Trump's own attorneys had 61 chances, and they did have their day in court, and they found no evidence of widespread voter fraud.
We're talking about Nevada.
I'm talking about the entire country, including Nevada, and Donald Trump's attorneys had the opportunity to provide evidence in court.
We're talking about Nevada.
We're talking about the entire country. Your position on the 2020 election. The entire country.
You got to go state by state, okay? And that
there was no evidence to prove that Nevada it was rigged.
People like you are seeing no evidence.
Not people like me. The entire justice system saw no evidence.
Because they're not allowed to present their case to the court.
That's not true. Donald Trump's own attorneys at least a dozen times had the opportunity to provide evidence, and in some of those cases the judge threw it out because there was no evidence. There's no evidence of widespread voter fraud.
This thing will be litigated in the next 50 years. Okay?
No, there is no litigation anymore.
Because
Trump lost.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about election. they're suing right now, lawsuit. There's a lawsuit right
Which
now.
they're not going to win.
Well, it has to be litigated. Everybody's entitled to their day in court.
Sure,
right?
I would never.
Okay.
But if everybody's entitled to their day in court,
You have to look at the
but
evidence.
yet, hold on. Everybody's entitled to their day in court, which, by the way, I agree with you on. But then when a jury makes a decision and there's a conviction, you claim that it's rigged. Ed, you can't have it both ways. I agree with you. Donald Trump is presumed innocent until found guilty.
Not just any jury, the Washington, D.C. jury. Those jury out
What
there.
about what took place in New York? The E. Jean Carroll case wasn't in Washington, D.C.
That's also a blue state. You see, all these
So if
states
it's a
are-
blue state
Yeah,
that a governor is running,
because when
it
they-
must be rigged.
Because they were asking for a change of venue to a neutral site, not given. This thing is not over yet. The Supreme Court will overturn.
So I
all
just
this
want to
stuff.
understand your
Supreme Court.
I just want to understand your position.
I understand.
If a Republican is convicted of any crime, okay, and a jury finds that they're guilty, if it's a blue state, it must be rigged, and that person didn't commit the crime. Is that what you're claiming?
Depends on the situation. Okay, depend on
Okay.
if it is politically inspired. Probably it is rigged.
Do you think the Hunter Biden and the investigation into the Bidens is politically inspired?
On the Hunter Biden, maybe it is because
Okay. I
Because,
appreciate your honesty.
because what
I
happened
think it is
that
as well.
because President Trump was impeached on the basis of phony stuff. Okay, that was we spent $40 million in
think
the Mueller investigation.
A lot of
$40
people who read
million.
the Mueller report would disagree with you. It wasn't a nothing
They
burger,
spent
and there were
40 There was not the conclusion from
was that
Judge
there wasn't
Mueller.
enough for Mueller to
Well,
prosecute. The
it's,
same way Herr said that there wasn't enough to
Okay.
prosecute Joe Biden. But I will say this, and maybe this is a fundamental difference between Republicans
Yeah.
and Democrats, or maybe somebody like me and somebody like you. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
If there's sufficient evidence that Joe Biden committed a crime,
Mhm.
or Hunter Biden committed a crime,
Yeah.
let's see it and go ahead and prosecute. To this point, Ed, as you know, Republicans have found literally nothing to prove that Joe Biden did any wrongdoing
That
or
is
committed
not
any
true.
crime. Where is
not-
it? Where is it?
That will be found. They will come up with an impeachment
From an
pretty soon.
FBI informant who lied and took propaganda from Russia?
You know, this informant, he was on the payroll for 20 years, and he was a trusted one. So I don't know. It has to be
doesn't that
proven
make
in court.
but Ed, can you admit, doesn't that make the Republicans look a little bad?
No, it's just that they're not playing it right because the Democrats and the media always coming up with.
Okay,
with
so
a
let me
thing,
ask you a question.
okay?
And where's the evidence that you have seen that Joe Biden broke a law?
Okay, for example, they're going to have this hearing where the three associates of Hunter Biden will testify that Joe Biden was involved in the pay to play and getting foreign interests. What is that? Peddling influence, right? They're going to testify to that. The Bobulinski.
Okay,
and
well, nobody
everybody
has
else.
to this point, so I
Well,
don't know if that's
they're
going to
doing-
happen.
I'm pretty sure they're going to impeach.
So let me ask you a question, then.
An impeachment is only a trial in the Senate. It's not in the court of law.
Well, they can try to impeach him, but
But
that
the
doesn't
same
mean
thing
that he's
the same thing they tried to impeach President Trump.
right. But Joe Biden isn't facing 91 felony counts right now.
The
Donald
felony
Trump
counts
is.
are phony.
They're all phony.
The 91
So why
a
did he do-
Democrat, a grand jury can convict a ham sandwich in Washington, D.C.
Gotcha.
That's why Professor
why did he defy us-
Dershowitz, a Jewish guy,
Dershowitz.
Professor Dershowitz.
Well, I don't care what his religion is.
Extremely,
Right, the guy that was on Epstein Island. So,
I don't
so
know
that's
about
the guy
that.
you're giving credibility. So hold on a second. So why did Donald Trump
But
defy?
Dershowitz is a Jewish guy. How
I
come
don't
you
care.
don't like him?
You think I have to like somebody because they're my same religion? That's ridiculous. You think I like Mark Levin? He's a despicable turd. He's an embarrassment to Jewish people.
Who's this?
Mark Levin. He's an
okay.
embarrassment.
Because
Just
he's
because
a right winger,
I
right?
don't care. No, because he's an awful human being. There's plenty of people that are Republicans that I have plenty of respect
You like
for.
meek Republicans. You like
Meek?
Republicans, meek that the people
So you think
Republicans you
strong
could
is-
control.
you think strong is-
you want Republicans that you could control.
No, I
right?
want Republicans that are
You-
honest, that are living
you-
in reality.
You got lapdog. You enjoy
No,
a lapdog
no,
Republican.
I like Republicans
That's what
that are-
Democrats like. Democrats
No.
like McCain. Democrats like
So let me ask you a question.
Romney because they
Okay,
are
let's go.
lapdog.
Let's go with that. The guy who risked his life for this country, who was a POW, so that people like you could run for office, you're calling weak? The guy who was a POW, that's Donald Trump talk. How can you talk about somebody,
I didn't say he was weak.
a lapdog? You just said you like weak
Well,
Republicans.
Not during
Yes,
the war. Not
I
during the
respect
war.
John McCain.
Not during the war. In the U.S. Senate, he was a rhino. Okay.
You think
During
you think John McCain is weak?
in the Senate,
In the Senate, he's weak.
Not during the war.
You think Donald Trump is strong? He's the strong one who dodged the military multiple times. But you want to characterize John McCain as that? Donald Trump.
Trump is the only one that can stop communism in America. If he didn't win, this country will go communist. I guarantee that. And the Communist Party, the Democrat Party, will control the political system here. They will tell you who can run, who cannot run. They will use the Justice Department to bring indictments in D.C., okay? And then they'll have a jury, 98%, 90% Democrats. You convict, you come up with 100, 200 indictments. You know, Dershowitz, the professor at Harvard, said a grand jury can convict a ham sandwich.
I don't care what Alan Dershowitz says.
You got to know that.
I
because
could care less what Alan Dershowitz said. He's a Trumper. I could care less.
This is how you rig the system, through an indictment.
But if Hunter Biden's convicted, would you say that's rigged as well? That can't be rigged, right?
No, you see, Hunter Biden probably will be tried in D.C. He will probably be acquitted. Okay, because those are Democrats.
What if a Democrat is convicted of something? Would you also say that's rigged, or? But that can't
depends on the jury.
It depends on the jury.
The jury was fair.
So if it's a jury in Washington, D.C., and a Republican is convicted of a crime, like, for example, all the January 6th insurrectionists, some of whom attacked police officers, that was rigged as well? If you attack a police officer, you shouldn't go to jail?
What about during the Summer of Love?
That's called about whataboutism.
Democrats attacked the White House.
Okay, so
that's insurrection to me. They burned down everything.
Democrats did not attack the White House. I don't know what you're referring to.
Did you see that? In the summer of 2020?
So you're talking about the Black Lives Matter protest, and that's whataboutism, but I will gladly answer your question. Okay. Here's the difference. Democrats don't condone, at least from what I've heard, haven't condoned attacking police officers and called them patriots.
Are you kidding? They're trying to defund the police.
Which Democrat in office right now is
For example, in New York City, when there's illegal kids, illegal immigrants, they were attacking. They were attacking the police.
That's not defunding
Many
the
Democrats didn't say anything.
Okay, so that's not true, number one, and I actually spoke out about that.
They were shamed into it, so they started.
So you just said Democrats want to defund the police. Can you name me one prominent Democrat in office right now, policy that wants to defund the police?
Right now, it's not politically convenient for them. But
so they want to defund the police, but you can't name one that actually is
3 years ago, most of them are for defunding the police.
Can you please name me one Democrat that has implemented policy that wants to actually defund the police? Well, because that is not true.
We made sure they don't do it.
Okay, but you can't name one.
Conservatives made sure they don't do it now.
I know, but how do you make a statement like that about all Democrats when you can't even name me one that has actually tried to implement it?
Well, given the chance,
it's not true.
Given the chance, they will defund the police.
Are you the person that also says that Democrats want to get rid of all of our guns? Do you make that claim also?
The politicians do, but not all. There are a lot of Democrats who are pro-Second Amendment.
Right, but they don't want to take
Democrats.
But there's not a Democrat. There might be a few mayors in Seattle.
When I'm talking about Democrats, I'm talking about the leadership.
Okay, so give me a leader.
Not the individual Democrats.
All right, so give me a leader.
Pelosi wants to disarm America.
So Pelosi has.
Harris wants to,
No, they don't.
Oh yeah, they want to.
No, they don't.
Oh shoot, yeah.
What do you mean? They want to get rid of all guns?
They're coming up with all kind of gun control that will make it impossible to get guns.
Ed, do you understand?
They want to prosecute the companies that make guns.
Do you understand there's a fine line between gun control and saying that they want to take all your guns away? Do you understand that those are two different things?
No, they're in the right step. They're in the same step.
So you think
you go from gun control, you take away the guns eventually.
They're not talking about taking away every gun. They're
That's
talking
what
about.
They're saying they will. I'm talking about.
Okay, so you're just making a gross assumption that is not true.
That is a proven theory.
First,
you go with the gun control.
How is it a proven theory?
Gun control. Once you get gun control, you get tighter and
That's
tighter.
That's not true. An assault weapons ban was implemented in the early 90s. They didn't want to take all your guns away then. They don't want to take.
And the ban on assault weapon was not effective.
Yes, it was.
No, it was not.
Okay, what I want you to do, Ed, because you've asked me to look up some things, I'd like you to look up the assault weapons ban in the early 90s. Okay. Take a look at gun violence and how it went up when it actually fizzled out by Republicans. It actually went up over 200%. You could look that up if you don't believe me.
It was a sunset.
But the point I'm trying to make is we could have disagreements, like obviously when it comes to gun control or even why you like Donald Trump, and that's fine. The part that gets me a little frustrated is when you make statements that are blatantly false and not true, or you say that if a Republican is convicted, if it happens in D.C., they must have all been Democrats, so they must be innocent. Ed, how do you feel about assaulting police officers on January 6th? If you want to talk about Black Lives Matter, I'll get to that afterwards.
The only person that died during that riot was a Republican.
First of all, that's not my question.
The National Guard. Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
There were people that are in jail
How
today.
about the police? not a single law enforcement died during that thing.
They were attacked, and 140 officers had to go to the hospital.
In the 2020 riots, Democrat riots.
Again, I said we'll talk about that afterwards.
Because during
No
that
Democrat
during
condones.
that riot, over 100 law enforcement died.
And guess what?
From the
I haven't heard of one Democrat in office that condoned violence. And Donald Trump, the man who you support, called those people. Hold on. Some of those people who attacked police officers that day, he called them great patriots. I haven't heard Joe Biden or one Democrat call anybody in this country a great patriot for attacking a police officer. That's what your president, who you support, said about those despicable people.
Those people that were rioting, they should be prosecuted.
They were.
Just like the people.
Are they patriots?
The 1,000 that attacked the White House in the 2020 summertime.
I don't know what you're talking about attacking the White House wasn't attacked. I don't know what you're talking about.
You did not watch the thing. They were trying to come into the White House. Remember the Secret Service? They had to bring President Trump into the bunker because the White House was attacked.
That was
the White House.
No, sir. No, sir.
Oh, yes.
That was. I know exactly what you're talking about. Donald Trump decided to have a photo opportunity. And
no. Before that.
I know exactly what you're talking about. He held a Bible upside down.
Did you hear that the Secret Service took Donald Trump all the way down in the basement of the White House?
Because he's a coward. That's why.
Because the White House was attacked. I saw it on TV.
I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody got into the White House. What are you talking about?
Because they had to put a double fence.
I don't care how many fences they put up.
You must be blind.
You just said the White House was attacked. Nobody got into the White House.
It was attacked.
Nobody got into the White House.
2 or 3 people did.
No, they didn't. What are you talking about? All right, listen. I don't know what you're talking about there.
Well, watch the TV.
Okay, I do. I watch TV all the time.
Summer. I'll send you the clip, okay?
Okay.
When the White House was attacked.
So let me ask you a question. Do you believe what Donald Trump said? Do you agree with him that those people on January 6th, some of whom physically assaulted police officers, are great patriots? Do you agree with that statement?
No, because anybody who attacks law enforcement
we agree.
It's not great.
Okay, we agree.
Yeah.
And here's the difference. I don't defend anybody during Black Lives Matter protests that committed any violent acts, and I haven't heard any Democrats say the same. I always say.
Many Democrats support that. Harris, the vice president.
What did she say? What did she say?
She said on national TV, on MSNBC and on CNN, she said, I'm going to raise money to get all the people that were put in prison. Okay, and then she said these people should continue to be violent until the election. She did not say that.
That's a lie.
I'll send you the...
That's a lie.
I will
Kamala Harris did not call for violence. You're lying. She didn't. I'll make you a $1,000 bet right now.
Okay, I'll send you the clip.
And if you're wrong, are you going to come on this show and call yourself a liar?
Certainly will.
You're telling me the vice president said that she called for violence.
You know, she wasn't a VP
She never said that.
She was not a VP
That's
yet.
absurd.
She was a candidate.
Okay, if she's a candidate, you're saying that
you're
saying that she called for violence. That's a lie. She never said that.
Number one, by innuendos, because they were violent.
Well, that's not what you just said. No, you didn't say innuendos. You said she called for violence.
The BLM was violent, correct? They were burning police stations and everything.
So first of all,
and she bailed them out.
So first of all,
she raised money to bail money, and then she said, "You need to continue until November."
You're mischaracterizing the entire situation.
No,
so I'm going to explain it to you.
I'll send you the clip.
I'll tell you what's true. She did not call for violence.
Yes, she did.
She raised money. No, she didn't. That's a lie.
She did in the summer.
No, she didn't. That's a lie. So she raised money and called for people to get legal representation. The same way you don't seem to have a problem with people raising money to help Donald Trump get out of jail card. Right. Donald Trump and many Republicans are starting GoFundMe pages. So please explain to me the difference between Kamala Harris trying to... hold on, let me ask the question. Explain to me the difference between Kamala Harris trying to raise money so that they can get legal representation, Black Lives Matter protesters who may or may not have committed crimes, to Donald Trump and Republicans who are raising money for the felony counts that he's facing. Can you please explain to me the difference there?
Okay, the difference is that Kamala Harris, not only that she raised money for bail, but she also said, I hope you continue with this violent...
She did not say that.
I hope you will continue with this demonstration all the way until November.
Continuing a demonstration is very different than calling for violence.
And that demonstration was violent.
Okay.
That was a violent demonstration.
Did you think January 6th was a violent demonstration?
It was.
It was.
It was,
What do you think was responsible for that?
Those people. The protesters.
Okay, so let me ask you another question then. And by the way, I partially agree with you. If Donald Trump didn't say that the election was stolen, and didn't say that the election was rigged, as you say, and that Joe Biden cheated, Does January 6th happen?
Well, let's see. January 6th was the idea implemented by Pelosi. Pelosi
What?
is wait.
That wasn't my question.
I'm
though,
talking
but
about the subcommittee.
Pelosi.
Pelosi is a genius. She's a communist, and she set up the subcommittee, and she denied Republicans from
But the
being.
question wasn't about Nancy
No,
Pelosi.
no, no,
it was
no,
about
talking
Donald Trump and
the
January
J6.
6th.
You mentioned how the J6.
I asked you
come
specifically,
about.
and it has nothing to do with Nancy Pelosi. I'm happy to get your opinions on Nancy Pelosi. The question was about Donald Trump and January 6th. I'll ask it again. If Donald Trump, leading up to January 6th, didn't say, and by the way, it's a lie, that the election was stolen, and he didn't say that Joe Biden was an illegitimate president and that Joe Biden cheated and the Democrats cheated, does January 6th happen? Yes or no?
Are you saying that if someone disagrees about the result of an election, they cannot get a recall?
That- Okay,
that's an American
that has nothing to do with
system.
my question.
Yeah,
Does January 6th happen? Yes or no?
He was asking for a recount, okay, of the election
In order to have a
in
recount,
Georgia.
there are laws put in place. There was no
well, he did
law.
he did pursue that.
They recounted 3 times in Georgia. What are you talking about?
He
Why
was
won't you
saying-
answer that question?
He was saying because some of them was not investigated. For
Find me
do you
1,400
remember,
votes. Or,
do you
I remember
when
that
they-
conversation.
When they were counting the ballots, all of a sudden they shut down the whole thing, and then
No, I don't.
Yeah, they shut
I
down.
don't.
I'll send you the clip again, the video clip. The counting of the ballot was shut. I don't remember whether it's Georgia or someplace else. They stopped counting, and
Okay,
Trump was ahead.
But that's
by
regardless.
500,000 votes.
Because there was something called mail-in ballots. But
They start counting it
because there were
again
mail-in
in the morning,
ballots.
and he lost.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
Okay,
the
so
count
it
doesn't
was a
stop until
recount.
all the votes are counted.
I'm
That
telling
wasn't
you.
a recount. Those were
Yeah.
called mail-in ballots.
I'm
But
telling
again, I'll
you.
ask you again, and you can answer it any way you like. But it would be
You
nice
don't
if I could
believe
get,
that our election system has been compromised. You don't believe that. You think
saying that there might be
the
some-
Democrats in Carson City rigged the election legally.
Okay.
Legally through
Well,
the mail-in ballot.
last I checked, the
AB
only
231.
person facing charges are Republicans right now who are part of a fake electorate scheme, including Mike McDougal, who's the Nevada chair, and Jesse Law, who are both despicable human beings.
You know
and these
that-
are people that you are friends with. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I have my issues with Jesse Law, but that's two separate things.
Mike
okay?
McDonald, the
No,
leader of the
no.
Republican Party, who is part of a fake electorate scheme, who, in my opinion, is
See,
a criminal.
That scheme is not. It is.
We'll see.
Well,
Let the courts decide, right?
Yeah,
It's not Washington,
Isn't
D.C.
it?
So
No,
if Mike
it's going to
is-
be in the Clark County, which is also
So that's also
Democrat.
rigged.
Yeah.
So that's
they
also
should
rigged.
Bring
Okay.
They should bring
So-
the venue to Esmeralda County.
so that's also rigged.
No, potentially, because the indictments about fake electorate that's postponed until next year,
Okay,
by the way,
all right.
and it will be dismissed because it is a political indictment by Aaron Ford, the AG.
So
he
it-
did not do anything
So
for
it
3 years
can't be possible.
until Georgia.
So it can't be possible that Mike McDonald and Jesse Law were part of a fake electorate scheme. That can't be possible
the
at all.
term fake electorate is
They
you know,
signed documents with
it
fake
is
electorates.
coined by Democrat. That is not. Let me explain to you. I don't know if you've been to a convention. We're going to have another convention in May.
Yeah.
About Democrat and Republican convention, the same thing.
A lot of
in
very
the
normal-
convention,
very normal people.
You pick the human beings that will go to the National Convention for nominating. At the same time, they pick electors. They will pick electors to vote if they win. Okay.
So if Mike McDonald is convicted, you're not going to admit that he committed a crime. It was also rigged.
I don't think he will be convicted.
But
I
if
think
he
the whole
is,
thing
if
will
he
be
is,
dismissed.
if he is,
What?
if
I
he's
don't think
convicted,
he will be convicted.
okay, I understand that's your opinion. But if he is convicted,
He could appeal.
I understand that. But will
Okay?
you admit that?
Until the appellate process is done, you're not guilty yet. And they probably will go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is ours.
So it's rigged in Washington, D.C. if a Republican is convicted. It's rigged in Clark County if any Republican is convicted as well.
If the origin of the lawsuit is a political lawsuit.
Right. So
Okay,
tell
if
us.
it's a-
So tell us who's a Democrat. If he's convicted of murder, is that rigged also? He's a Democrat.
Let's see. That person had the appellate process. You know, if the appeal's been exhausted, then there's no more appeal.
Well,
under our
listen,
system.
I'm not saying our justice system is perfect, but if a jury
Our
decides,
our election system is bad now.
okay, well the
I mean,
election.
worse than a third world country now.
well, I disagree
we're
with
telling people overseas that we're the best in democracy.
Can you name me an
No,
election?
We're the worst.
Can you name me a national election or a presidential election? Do you use the term rigged in 2020? You still believe Trump won?
I'm saying that the appeals should be heard. Okay, if the court system, if everything is litigated, it
Right.
was never litigated in court. It was just dismissed on a hearing.
So if Donald Trump is a convicted felon and he appeals and he's still a convicted felon, will you admit that Donald Trump is a convicted felon?
Appeal all the way to the Supreme Court?
If he appeals it and he loses his appeals,
If he goes all the way to the Supreme Court, he will not lose.
why is that?
Because the court is a conservative court, and they
But
know
that's
they
not
know the
rigged.
process is a political
So
process.
because they're conservative.
Political prosecution.
So
Let's just talk about politics.
so why
you
did
know?
Donald Trump defy a subpoena for a year then if he's innocent?
Pardon me?
Why did Donald Trump defy a subpoena for a year if he's so innocent?
Because that in the legal process, his lawyer says this is the strategy.
Lawyers
to do it.
told him to defy a subpoena.
He
I don't believe
hired
that.
lawyers.
I don't, Well, they're
okay?
not very good. Rudy Giuliani, who filed for bankruptcy.
Well, he has to look for a lot of lawyers. America has a lot of
So
lawyers.
you're telling me that you believe his attorneys told him to defy a subpoena for a year?
Anybody can defy a subpoena for cause.
Anybody can murder somebody too. It
For
doesn't
cause,
make it
no.
right or legal. Why, if he's innocent?
This is a legal process, okay?
Okay, but the legal process is if you have a subpoena, you cooperate with the DOJ the way Joe Biden did. Why did Donald Trump defy a subpoena if he's innocent?
Biden did not. Hunter Biden didn't comply with the subpoena.
Joe Biden.
He showed up in the hearing room in Washington, but he did not.
He just
sit in the stand.
He just was under oath. Donald Trump pled the fifth 500 times. Hunter Biden didn't plead the
That's a
fifth once.
That's a constitutional right.
Donald Trump is
there
the guy.
will be a point that Hunter will plead.
So do you
Fifth
disagree then
Amendment.
with Donald Trump when he said if you plead the fifth, you're probably guilty and you're hiding something? Do you agree with Donald Trump when he made that statement?
Well, a lot of people said that, but it's a legal strategy. Okay.
Okay, so
It
you
can go both
disagree with
ways.
Trump when he made that statement.
It goes both
Why
ways.
didn't Hunter Biden plead the fifth? He
doesn't-
answered every question
He
under
doesn't
oath.
need to. His lawyer said, "This question you can answer. How about the question you will not answer?
Okay,
plead the fifth."
well, Hunter didn't plead the fifth once, Mr. Hamilton.
Well, he did not attend that meeting. He attended the meeting.
Hunter Biden, in a deposition being grilled by Republicans, did not plead the fifth once. Donald Trump and his family members have pleaded the fifth thousands of times in the last 5 years.
But his family, Trump and his family, are prosecuted by
Okay.
the Justice Department. That 11,000
Hey,
lawyers.
This is why I wanted you here.
Okay.
I know we're going to have some
Okay.
disagreements.
I enjoy it.
And,
yeah.
and I do as
enjoy
well.
the
So I would
argument,
like
yeah.
to take some calls. What do you think about that, Mr.
Oh,
Hamilton?
boy.
I know
Okay,
there's
that's
plenty of people that want to talk to
Okay,
you. Listen, I appreciate you being here. You knew that we would get into a good
Oh,
debate.
yeah. I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
And I do as well, and I appreciate you being here. Okay, so here's what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. His name is Edward Hamilton. He's running for U.S. Senator out of the state of Nevada. I know there's a lot of people that want to ask you some questions, Mr. Hamilton. Some of the comments you've made on social media, Joe Biden, you said, has transformed us into an inflation nation. You called Taylor Swift a Chiefs mascot. You called Nikki Haley a self-hating Hindu American. You called Joe Biden a Soviet socialist Democrat. So I know there's people that are going to want to ask you questions about that. We're going to take a break. I'm going to open up the phone lines right now. 702-221-7283. Again, if you want to be a part of the conversation, now's the time to call in. And Edward's nice enough to be sticking around, and he's going to take your calls and your questions, which I appreciate. 702-221-7283. Your calls with Ed Hamilton next. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
My name is Hunter Kane, and I'm talking with you for a call to action for our veterans in Clark County. Who is Hunter Kane? Well, I'm a decorated combat veteran community leader, and candidate for Clark County Commission. Do you know no veteran has served on the commission in nearly 30 years, which is why our veteran homelessness, unemployment, and suicide rates are out of control. So here's the call to action. June 11th, vote veteran, vote Kane for Clark County. Let's rally behind someone who's been in the trenches, who knows the sacrifices, and who's committed to making a real difference. Join the campaign by searching Elect Hunter Kane on social media or go to www.electhunterkane.com.
Voters want safe gun reform, ban military assault weapons, including AR-15s, have universal background checks, and red flag laws. I am Eva Chase, a candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 16, U.S. Air Force veteran, college graduate, progressive independent candidate, fully transitioned transgender woman, former lieutenant governor candidate for Nevada in 2022, where I received 7,212 votes in the Democratic primary. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok Donate to my campaign Bot Fun account and stay progressive.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Residents of Las Vegas Ward 5, are you ready for a brighter future? I would like to introduce myself, Dr. Erica Smith, your people's choice for City Council. With a vision for progress and the fortitude to make it happen, I am committed to moving us forward. I am not just a candidate, I am a fighter for you. With myself on the City Council, you can expect a real change and a community that thrives. Vote for Dr. Erica Smith, because together we're building a better tomorrow. To learn more about me and my campaign, go to www.ericaforlasvegas.com, paid for by the Vote Dr. Smith Committee.
Did you know that 99% of air conditioning issues start with airflow issues? Well, guess what? Pioneer Air has your back. They've been operating for 20 years in the industry within the Las Vegas area, large enough to handle all your air conditioning and heating needs, but small enough to know your first name. Pioneer Air focuses on preventative care, much like wellness checks for humans. They believe in wellness checks for air conditioning and heating systems to extend the life of the system you own. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your wellness check with Pioneer Air today. The number to call is 702-831-4840. Here's the best news. Mention this ad and you'll receive 10% off. Call Pioneer Air today. 702-831-4840. That number again, 702-831-4840. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. You missed a lot if you're tuning in right now. Before we get to the phone calls, and we've got Edward Hamilton in studio. He's running for U.S. Senator, staunch Republican, staunch Trump supporter. I want to tell you guys a little bit about my good friends at Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Great eats, great food, great atmosphere, great gaming bar. I've had some of the best chicken Alfredo I've ever had in my life at Jackson's, I got to tell you. It's so good. Brian Slipbach and the gang over there will take care of you. Mention the name of this show. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Check him out. As I mentioned, we have Edward Hamilton in studio. He's running for U.S. Senator, staunch Republican. He knew we were going to get into it a little bit. He's a big Trump supporter, but he's nice enough to be sticking around, and we're going to be taking some phone calls from people like you. Are the phone lines jammed right now? They are. So the best tip that I could give you, because the phone lines are jammed, is when we go to another caller and we hang up on a caller, or they hang up on me, which does happen from time to time, that's the time to call in. Phone lines are jammed right now. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Who should we go to first here? Let's see. Let's go to Nelson. Nelson is first up on Pushing the Limits. Hi, Nelson. You're on with Edward Hamilton. Go right ahead.
Hello, gentlemen. How you doing?
Good.
Good, great.
Interesting conversation, but I knew it was going to head in that direction.
I was prepared.
I just want to say I respect his right to support Trump.
Sure, as do I.
It's what makes this country great.
Yep.
As sick as that man is, I call him the Predator dumpster. However, I just think Mr. Hamilton's on the wrong side of history. And quite frankly, I think he's on the wrong side of decency. Given what has transpired, what has been said by Trump, and so many things, the thing with the Jewish people comment. Mm-hmm. As an independent, I just want to say this. When you have the opposite party coming up with a slogan for election time, you guys are in trouble, because now they're saying, vote blue to get rid of you-know-who.
Well, I'll let's let Eddie respond to that. Go ahead, Ed.
Caller, I appreciate the phone call, and I think you're mistaken. You're not well informed, and I think you got to wake up that if Trump doesn't win, America will be the United States Soviet of America. if we are running into communism. We will become a communist country where there is only one political
Why are we not a
party.
communist country now? Joe Biden's
Well,
been
we are
president for
moving
4
toward
years.
we are moving toward communism.
Barack Obama was president for 8 years. We didn't turn into a Soviet
No,
country.
because Obama is not as strong as Biden, believe it or not. Obama think he's smarter
Then why
than
won't
Biden.
Donald Trump call out Vladimir Putin?
Pardon me?
If you think that we're going to turn
He
into
did. He did say that.
Never called him a dictator. Joe Biden did.
If he was in the White House, Putin wouldn't dare.
No
to
evidence.
cross.
No evidence of that.
There
It's
is evidence.
nonsense.
When Trump was in the White House, there are no wars in the world because
We had a global pandemic. Do you blame him for
people
that?
No, we blame that lab in Wuhan.
I thought he was really tough on China.
listen.
I thought he was really tough on China. If he was so tough on China,
He
why
wa-
did they create a global pandemic then?
Well, Wuhan was invented by Fauci. You know all that.
Okay, well that's not true.
All, yeah,
That's not
all
true.
that
No,
research
that's not
money
true.
from
No,
here.
that's not true.
But
That's
I'm
never
not.
been-
I'm
that's
not saying
not true.
I'm not saying the Chinese are responsible. I'm saying it came out of the Wuhan lab.
So it's not
That
Donald
was-
Trump's
okay.
fault if something happens under his administration, but if it happens under Joe Biden's administration, it's definitely his fault.
I want to say this, guys. I want to say this real quick. I'm glad he brought up the coronavirus situation. It's because, listen, we've witnessed, he talking about waking up. Oh, I'm waking up. What I witnessed was a former president putting forth the most irresponsible response to a crisis.
I agree.
Let me stop you right there.
Hold on. And this current president came in at the height of the pandemic, removed the son-in-law who was unqualified, and what a coincidence. Today, we don't have to wear masks anymore.
Right.
We can buy toilet paper. We can go buy chicken wings.
You know what?
Under your former president,
You
he
need.
was so irresponsible with the public's health, and he ought to be banned.
You
from the
need,
presidency.
sir. You are.
I agree.
You are misinformed. You need to.
I'm misinformed.
You need to
Did
thank
you have
President
trouble?
Trump.
Did you have trouble?
Hang on.
Did you have trouble trying to buy toilet paper 4 years ago?
President Trump invented the vaccine. I shouldn't say this.
I appreciate
he
the
invented
call.
the vaccine.
So why didn't he go public and take the vaccine? And why do so many right-wingers
Because-
out there say it's poison?
Because of politically it was not wise, but he was the
So-
one
so
who invented the
so
vaccine.
if it cost hundreds of thousands of lives, you're okay with that because it was just political for him not to go public with it.
Without the Trump vaccine, the whole world would have
You
collapsed.
can't have it both ways. You
Well,
can't have it both ways.
One of these days.
So many right-wingers call the vaccine poison. You can't have it both ways.
That is not right. I believe in the vaccine.
So do I.
I have all kind of vaccines
So
in my
why
body.
why didn't he do it publicly? Because it was politics? Boy, that's a really
Probably.
lame. That's a really
Well,
pathetic
Biden
excuse,
Biden
isn't it?
does the same thing.
No, Biden did it publicly. In
Why
fact,
did Biden switch his policy on Gaza? Because of the Muslims.
what does that have to do with the vaccine?
I'm talking about people flip-flopping. Okay, Biden flipped on Israel because with the 100,000 Muslims was going to vote against them.
I don't know. Yes,
Yes,
what that has
he
to do with
flipped.
the vaccines, but
yeah.
okay.
Oh
All
no,
right.
no, I'm not talking about
Okay.
the vaccine. I'm talking
Who
about
said-
why
okay, well,
politicians
why
politicians flip.
The caller brought up the vaccine, and I think help me out. Who said maybe when we were losing thousands of people a day from COVID, somebody said it's going to be gone by Easter. It's going to be 15 cases down to 0, and then he talked about injecting yourself with disinfectant. Which president did that?
He was on the injection. Then that was just a joke. That was a
So why wasn't anybody laughing?
Number one.
Why wasn't anybody laughing if that was a joke?
A lot of people were laughing.
Trump wasn't
about a
laughing.
joke.
Well, we were laughing at the embarrassment that he is.
Well,
Sure.
That's true. He apologized after that. He said
He
that.
did? He apologized?
He
No, he
did.
didn't. He said he was
didn't
joking.
mean it that way. But the vaccine, the vaccine took a while to get accepted. Okay, to be in production. But it wasn't. It weren't for President Trump. There would be more deaths.
All right.
So,
Let's take another call.
But he's afraid to take credit for that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think he's afraid to. He was afraid to go in the military as well. I think he's afraid of a lot of powerful women and people of color. 702-221-7283.
That's your opinion.
Let's go to. Yeah, it is. Let's go to Dave. Dave, what's up?
Free country.
Hi, Dave. Didn't quite catch the gentleman's name. Who's
Ed
on.
Hamilton.
Is it Hamilton?
He's running for
Ed
U.S.
Hamilton?
Senator. Yes, sir.
In what state?
In the state of Nevada, he's running for U.S. Senator.
Where are you at?
Nevada.
Yes.
Okay, I'm in New York.
Oh, great.
Yeah, a couple things. I don't know if this is a comment or a question, but we talk about lap dogs, and we use these kind of expressions since Donald Trump came onto the scene, calling people like these names that put them into a category with labels on them. But if you want to talk about a lap dog, talk to Mr. Hamilton. You want to you missed an opportunity. I think, Brian, on that one, talking about lapdogs, he's a lapdog after Donald Trump and for the Republican Party and everything they stand for.
Well,
and he wants to labeled.
Yeah, he mentioned John McCain, who served this country honorably.
Oh yeah.
It's
all memorized.
Yeah,
they have their side memorized more than we have our side memorized, and it's just cut and dry, right down the middle.
I said I respect John McCain's service to the country.
You can disagree with his
policies. When he was in Vietnam, but when he was in the U.S. Senate, he was horrible. He was horrible.
So he's a lapdog, though, right?
No, let me see.
What are
wrong,
you?
sir.
What are you?
You are wrong.
What are you, Mr. Hamilton?
I have my own opinions. Long before Donald.
Yeah, I know.
Long
You're
before
a lapdog. You don't have your own opinion. You have Donald Trump's opinion.
Long before Donald Trump was on the scene, I have my own opinions already.
I think the entire so many in the Republican Party bow down to Orange Man, and I think they've sold their soul, like the Kevin McCarthy's, the Jim Jordans, the Matt Gaetz, the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, the Lauren Boeberts, the Lindsey Grahams.
I disagree.
The Lindsey Grahams. Okay, so let's go with that for a moment then. Ted Cruz said that he was a lying, despicable person and he was unfit for president. Lindsey Graham said he should never see the White House. Would you call them a lapdog now because they've been supporting Donald Trump for the last 5 years?
That was politics. All that the people flip-flop.
That's just politics. Okay,
that's all politics.
That's just politics. All right, so it's just politics if a Republican does it, but if somebody that you don't like, then they're a lapdog.
Did you ever listen to the night show, Jimmy Kimmel and
sure, all the time.
Colbert? All of them say nasty things.
It's a comedy show. They're not the president of the United States.
They're political.
They're not politicians or lawmakers.
They're lapdogs of Biden because they work in the campaign in a way.
Okay. So you're
promoting the campaign.
You're comparing a late-night talk show, which is about entertainment, to the
Democrats.
Former president of the United States.
They are Democrats. We're talking about Democrats versus Republicans.
Okay, but Fox News doesn't do that for Trump, though, or OAN or Newsmax, right? They're not in the bag for Donald Trump.
Fox, not now.
Newsmax, no, they're not in the bag.
Newsmax,
Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, they're not in the bag for Donald Trump.
They probably are.
Sean Hannity, behind closed doors, said that Donald Trump was full of crap with his 2020 election lies.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, well, I know you didn't hear it, but it's out there. All right, let's take another call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Joseph. Joseph is next. You're on with Ed. Go right ahead.
Yeah, okay. Here's my piece on Trump. The way Trump is saying about bloodbath in the country, now Mr. Hamilton, is it Hamilton, right?
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Yeah. Now Hamilton, he may think that Trump is going to saying bloodbath in the auto industry, but to me, that doesn't sound like it to me. That sounds like bloodbath to the country, because that's what Trump is doing. He wants to start he probably read Mein Kampf, and that's what he's trying to do. He's worshiping Hitler and those other dictator scumbags.
Well, he did say Hitler did some good things.
You know, President Trump has brought many good things for black people. You know that.
Oh, sure he did.
Employment.
Oh, sure he did.
Employment.
And now the polling shows that he's going to get 40% of black men.
That's absolutely not going to happen.
Men,
By the way,
not women.
Unemployment is the lowest
it's
it's been.
That's coming from Trump, who says sending in these riot squads with gas grenades and riot shields, all because he just wants to hold up the Bible like he was a stupid dummy he was born to be.
Let me add something really. And by the way, thank you for the call, Joseph. Obviously, we agree. Ed doesn't agree with you. The unemployment numbers are the low. You just mentioned employment. The unemployment numbers are the lowest they've been in over 50 years.
Let me clarify that.
Sure. I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Biden is creating millions of jobs, and you have to have 2 or 3 of them to survive. The jobs that Biden have created are government jobs and part-time jobs. So if you want to have a living wage, you got to have 2 or 3
Where's that
of those
stat
Biden
that I
jobs.
Can look up that.
Look up on CNN. Look up on
I've never seen that stat on CNN.
I'll send you the clip on that.
So if that's the case, Ed, then why are the unemployment numbers now lower than they were before COVID when Trump was president?
Well, you say I think it's about the same.
No, it's lower now.
When president was president, he's got the lowest unemployment number for minorities, for Hispanics, for women, and for Asians. Mm-hmm. And so this is a Trump economy that we're living under right now. That's right, because all those tax cuts, businesses are using it to build factories, to
let's go with that.
Expatriate the trillions from Europe.
Let's go with that.
Coming back to the U.S.
The higher wage growth, manufacturing jobs, the lowest unemployment in 50 years.
All because of Trump economy.
And inflation going down, gas prices going down. No credit to Joe Biden, who's our president, but let's give credit to Donald Trump, who's not in office.
Joe Biden got credit for the inflation. I'm running to undo the Biden inflation.
Inflation is down to under 3%. It was in double digits 3 years ago.
No. Inflation is 25%.
No, it's
3%
not.
is in 1 month.
No, it's not.
Well, yeah. Since
Inflation's
Biden,
not at 25%.
No, since Biden took office, the average inflation is about 20%.
Inflation's not.
Inflation
20%.
is cumulative. That's why people are not feeling it. Biden kept saying inflation only 3%. Okay. Well, I have Edenomics to fight Bidenomics.
Okay. I don't know what Edenomics is.
Edenomics is for the policy for Nevada.
Let's take some
Nevada
more calls.
First.
Let's take some more calls. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Roy. What's up, Roy?
How you doing?
Good.
The first thing I want to say is that Donald Trump is human garbage. That's number one, and his character just sucks. So I don't want to hear about anyone supporting him. It's ridiculous. Mr. Hamilton, I wish you were in my state so I could vote against you. I've never heard of such stupidity in my entire life.
All right, well, we got to let Ed respond to that. Let him respond. Go ahead.
You sound like you're from the blue state, right?
Yeah, I'm an independent, but I live in the blue state.
I can tell. But, it's a free country. You're entitled to your
blue
opinion.
state where more money is spent on education, unlike the South, where we're raising idiots.
You spend the money for the teachers' union, not for education. It's for the union.
Yeah, okay.
Take a look at the education is not good. People can't read. Kids can't read at the age of 3. So that's not a good one. I believe
how come all the Republicans vote against all the Republicans vote against preschool, pre-K, and all that kind of stuff?
Not true.
Let me tell you something. The Republicans have done nothing for the average man in the last 30 or 40 years that I can recall. Nothing.
You have had $26,000 in your pocket in the last 6 years.
Let me tell you something.
Because of President Trump.
Because
of the tax cut. Because are you paying taxes or not?
My ass.
Do you pay tax or not? Do you pay taxes or not? You don't pay taxes, do you? Do you pay taxes?
I pay plenty of taxes.
You sound like
a hell of
Donald
a lot.
Trump. Donald Trump didn't pay taxes for a while.
If you pay taxes,
Donald Trump didn't help me.
If you
Let
pay
me tell you something.
The tax cut.
I'm a financial pro.
The 2017 tax cut.
All right, one at a time.
Put $26,000 in your pocket.
Roy, we'll give you the last word. You go ahead, and then Ed will respond. Go ahead, Roy.
Okay. Well, he didn't give anyone $26,000. He increased the standard deduction, but at the same time, he took away all the personal exemptions. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the biggest tax cut went to the ultra wealthy. It went from 39.6 to 37. Number three, the biggest part of the tax cut, other than individuals, went to giant corporations who do not pay their fair share in this country. Right. And corporate greed is a big element, aside from the supply chain issues from this handling of the pandemic, which caused all kinds of supply problems. That corporate tax cut is what's generating this corporate greed and raising prices and prices and prices so they can put more money into their corporate pockets.
Roy, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you, Roy, and I appreciate the call.
Well, with that corporation, you won't have a job. A lot of people won't have a job.
Again,
we believe in capitalism here.
Again, the unemployment rate is the lowest it's been in over 50
America is going into communist country with Biden.
I would respectfully disagree with that statement. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Who are we going to next here? Zay is next. Hello, Zay. Thanks for calling in. You're on with Ed Hamilton. Go right ahead.
God bless everybody. First and foremost, I want to say may God bless the journey of Mr. Edward and his choices. Second of all, I want to say I think there's a huge problem going on with worshiping man. Everybody speaks religion. Everybody speaks fairness. Everybody speaks God. But we're worshiping, well, not us, but the Republican Party is worshiping a man. The last time the world worshipped a man, a.k.a. Hitler, we had massive death. So
I do agree that there is a big portion of the Republican Party that worship Donald Trump. It is a cult, and Ed will probably...
It's not just the Republican Party. It's people. People are worshiping this man like he walks on water.
Right. I agree. Well, it's not the Democrat Party, that's for sure. But
right. But just the building of a cult, the propaganda.
Let me ask Ed this. Hold on. I'm glad you brought this up. I want to ask Ed this question. Hang on the line. Do you believe that there is a cult within the Republican Party that supports Donald Trump, Ed? Because I agree with this call.
In the world.
There is a cult in the Democratic Party, the Pelosi cult. Okay, and
What are you
let me
talking
say,
about? I haven't seen one Pelosi flag on the back of a pickup truck.
The gentleman talks about God. I believe in God, and I think God put us on this planet to fight evils. And evils are communism. Sir, you must fight communism. You must vote for Trump. Without President Trump, America will go communist in the next 4 years. We won't have a country anymore.
I disagree. We still have a country now, and we're doing just fine. So I don't know where you get that from. But I still want you to answer my question. So when I see Trump flags everywhere, I see "Make America Great Again" hats everywhere. I see Trump bobbleheads. I don't see any Joe Biden bobbleheads. I don't see any malarkey flags on the back of pickup trucks. I don't
Simply because Joe Biden in 2020 sat in his basement, and the rigging machine won him the election.
In 2020, we were losing 3,000 to 4,000 people a day from COVID. He wasn't sitting in his basement. He was doing the responsible
during
thing.
Why he implemented the Trump vaccine. So thanks to President Trump, we have the vaccine.
And all the right wingers out there seem to call it poison.
Well, that's what they say.
Well, they're idiots.
I don't say
idiots.
it. I don't say it.
I know, but they're idiots.
I don't say it.
They're idiots.
I don't say
it's
it.
Not poison. I'm happy to give Donald Trump credit for the vaccines. The point I'm trying to make is
thank you.
The mixed messaging from people on the far right. You can't have it both ways. Let's take another call. 702-221-7283. Again, 702-221-SAVE. All right, let's go to Herb. Herb is next up on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Herb.
Hey, Brian, how you doing, buddy? I just want to ask two questions. And before you ask me a question, can you answer the two questions that I have?
Okay, well, let's start with one. Wait, are you talking to me or Ed?
I'm talking to both of you.
Okay, one question at a time.
So, okay, the first question is, on January 6th, there were probably thousands of people out there, on January 6th. What percentage, and I wanted to know this answer for a long time, what percentage of those people that were there on January 6th at the Capitol breached the Capitol and went in?
I know the answer to that.
What percentage?
I know
percentage? I know you don't know the exact number.
I know around the number, and it's a very easy one to answer. There were hundreds of thousands of people that were there that day that were not violent, that were there to hear Donald Trump speak. And a lot of those people, while I disagree with them because they think the election was stolen, and I would call them morons, they were not committing they were not breaking any laws. There were maybe about 1,000 people, give or take. Out of those hundreds of thousands of people, there were around 1,000 people that broke the law that day. Some of those people beat police officers. Some of those people destruction of property and breached the Capitol.
No, I know what they did. So you would say probably around, what 10%? About 10%?
Like I said, there were hundreds of thousands of people that were there that day that didn't break any laws. So it doesn't change my opinion on those people that did. So I'm
not trying to change your opinion. I just wanted an approximate percentage.
Just like I can tell you, okay, but hold on. Just like I would tell you that there were tens of millions of people during Black Lives Matter protests, tens of millions. And there was also a small percentage of people that did some very bad things, attacked police officers, looted,
Burned buildings.
And I don't condone that either. But the difference and the fundamental difference between the two, which I try to explain to Mr. Hamilton, while I don't condone any violence, is that a group of people, tens of millions of people, were there because they wanted black people to be treated as equals when it comes to law enforcement, equality, and a couple of 100,000. Hold on, let me just finish. I understand you understand. I'm just finishing my point. A couple of 100,000 morons, as far as I'm concerned, wanted to hear Orange Man speak because they thought the election was stolen, and they're all a bunch of ignorant fools. But go ahead. Go ahead. Ask your second question.
But my point being is this. You answered the second one. Because I wanted to ask what percentage of those people.
And I gave you the answer. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Okay,
Tens of millions of people across the. By the way, I don't condone any of the agitators who were violent. I would never would, and I haven't.
Well, Brad, let me just say this.
Okay,
Nancy Pelosi is responsible.
No, she's not. That's absurd.
Because President Trump offered 10,000.
That's also not true. No,
10,000 National Guard troops.
Before you go on, I just want to make my point.
Pelosi,
and my point is this: the percentage of people that were there to protest on January 6th, it was a small percentage that went into the Capitol.
When did I say ever? When did I ever say on this show that a large percentage of all the people there at D.C. were.
Now, Brian, why are you so defensive? I never said you.
What
did
does it
say
matter?
that.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If
Okay,
it was a tenth,
so my
if it
point-
was a
there you
tenth,
go, Brian.
if it was
There you go.
I'm going to let you finish.
Brian.
But your point makes no sense. If it was a tenth of a percentage, it wouldn't matter to me. The people
I
who
can
did that
tell
were
you-
wrong.
I can tell you. Okay, I can tell you what my point is. You referred to the protesters on January the 6th as rioters and as
Absolutely.
as,
Okay, pot him down.
insurrectionists.
Pot him
As
down. Pot him down. Again, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Get the MAGA wax out of your ears. And even Mr. Hamilton, I think, would agree with me here. Never did I say that all those people that were there on January 6th were insurrectionists. When I use the term insurrectionist to anybody with a brain, they understand that I'm referring to the people that stormed the Capitol. Have a nice day. Get off my show. You're misquoting what I said again because you're a buffoon. 702-221. Did I ever say all the people in D.C. were all insurrectionists? I never made that.
Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 National Guard troops.
That's been
yeah,
proven not
she
true.
refused because she was
Where
in
did
charge.
you get that from?
She was in charge of the Capitol security.
Okay, first of all, that's been debunked, and that's not true. But
there are documents.
Donald Trump, I find it interesting that it's been proven that Donald Trump was sitting, his fat ass was sitting there eating KFC in the Oval Office for 4.5 hours while people were being injured, and you're right, some people died. And for 4.5 hours, he was being begged by people around him to put out a video.
So you're saying Biden is
Okay,
sitting
let me
eating
finish.
KFC while people got killed in Gaza?
Let me finish. For 4.5 hours in Washington, D.C., where he was a few blocks away, he didn't put out a video. He did nothing. Why don't you ever criticize Donald Trump for his behavior that day?
That was just allegations.
No, it's actually not allegations.
Allegations from
no,
Democrats.
It's not. People, no, you're wrong. And Casey Hutchinson and people, no, you're wrong. It wasn't Democrats.
Casey was
no,
a
you're
turncoat.
wrong.
She's a backstabber.
Okay, right. So
she's a backstabber.
Right. So if you actually speak the truth under oath, you're a turncoat. If it doesn't support your Donald Trump Superman narrative,
I'm just
and
doing
that's ridiculous.
I'm doing the devil's advocate.
Okay. There are multiple people within the Trump administration, people that are going to be testifying against him, like Mr. Meadows. Multiple people under oath that are all Republicans hired by Donald Trump that said he was sitting there in the Oval Office watching TV for 4.5 hours. He was given a note saying that somebody was shot and killed, and he sat there and he did nothing.
He said you should all go home.
He did that 5 hours later, and he said, we love you, and you're all patriots. He did that 5 hours later. It's indefensible. 702-221-7283. All right, let's go to, let's see, who do we have next year on Pushing the Limits? I believe we have Susan. What's up, Susan?
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Good. You're on with Ed. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment first that Brian, you when Ed referred to people taking people's guns away, you referred to Washington State. And I live in Washington State, and we're not taking people's guns away. We're limiting ammo, and we're limiting AR-15 sales, and that's all. And I've heard you advocate for that before, so I don't understand why you put that in that category.
Well, I'll let Ed respond to that. Go ahead, Ed.
I think we were talking about Washington, D.C. Policy from Washington, D.C. I never said anything about Seattle or,
but Brian did.
Oh.
I didn't mention Washington State at all. In fact, I put, if I did, I certainly misspoke. I'm speaking in regards to the entire country. In the entire country, and I talk about gun control all the time on this show, Democrats are not trying to take your guns away. Now, they want an assault weapons ban, many of them do, which, by the way, I support because it's been proven to work like it did in the early 90s. Red flag laws, raising the age to 18 to 21, mandatory training on how to use a weapon. I'm for all those things, and all we hear from Republicans is more guns make us safer, which is, by the way, ridiculous. As you know, it doesn't.
It is.
More guns don't make us safer. And all I hear from them is lock school doors and let's arm our kindergarten teachers, which are equally as ridiculous. Republicans have no solutions, Ed. They have no solutions to all the gun violence in this country.
Yes, my niece is a kindergarten teacher, and she is totally opposed to weapons in the school of any kind.
Yeah. Well,
as a Jewish person, you should know that if Jewish people in Germany had been allowed to have gun, Hitler would not have been able to do Auschwitz.
Okay, well, religion has nothing to do with gun control.
No, I'm talking about the people in Germany were disarmed, so a dictator like Hitler could kill people.
So first of all, we're not having that situation happening here. So I don't think that's a very fair analogy, number one.
It could happen here if the guns are taken away. Well, you can't defend yourself.
Okay, so that's your solution to all the gun violence in this country? You think we need more guns?
No, you need more enforcement.
You need
to enforce. It's been statistically proven that you are safer with a shotgun than you are with an AR-15 or a handgun.
The bottom line is this. Proven. I agree. The bottom line is this, Ed. Per capita, we have 140 guns per 100 people.
We are America.
Okay.
Well, we're not Europe.
I don't know what that means.
We're not Europe.
You're
we're
right,
not China.
Right,
we're not Russia.
You're right.
We are different.
Yeah, we are different.
God made us different.
We're obsessed with our
America.
guns. Right. We are America. We're not Europe. In Europe, they don't have the type of gun violence that we have here.
Well, in Europe, the people are slaves to the politicians.
Kids aren't being gunned down in schools in Europe like they are at the rate here.
That's bad. We need enforcement. We need mental health counseling here. We need to spend money on that.
Republicans won't put money allocating for mental health. How do we do it?
Democrat prosecutors don't put people in jail for gun violation. The laws are not enforced. Gun laws are not enforced by prosecutors or by district attorneys. That's a problem.
Okay, so when it comes to gun control, what your solution is? We need to get Democrats out of office. I'm trying to understand.
You need DAs and prosecutors to come down on gun violators. They're not prosecuted. Democrats are turning people out into the street.
So the school shooter, certainly in some of these school shootings,
they need mental health.
And how can we do that if Republicans don't want to put money allocating towards
mental
health?
They did put money.
Are you okay? No, they didn't.
Put money.
Are you okay with
Democrats didn't put money either because there is no money.
Are you okay with an 18-year-old the day he turns 18 walking into a gun store buying a bunch of AR-15s and thousands of rounds of ammunition?
Why? If that's within his right, but he shouldn't do that.
Okay, so guess what? Democrats want to raise the age and want to make it more difficult for an 18-year-old to get his hands on an AR-15.
That would be unconstitutional.
No, that's not true. A law. There's no law. It doesn't say in the Constitution every 18-year-old has the right to buy a bunch of assault weapons. And by the way, when the Constitution was written, we had muskets. We didn't have AR-15s. Why do people always want to talk about the Constitution when the people that wrote the Constitution were owning black people?
Because the founders talked about the right to bear arms. Arms will develop into something.
And you think we have a well-regulated militia, if you want to talk about the Constitution? Because that's what it says in the Constitution. You think we're well-regulated right now?
Well, it's as citizens, people have guns and they can protect themselves at home.
I don't have a problem with that.
Somebody try to break down your door, you can't call the cops.
Ed,
you got to defend yourself.
Let me be very clear on this, okay? I want people like you and people like me to be able to defend ourselves and the right to bear arms.
Thank you.
Just about every Democrat in this country agrees with that statement.
Not true.
No, you can't find me, again, you make a statement like that, you couldn't find me one Democrat in office that takes all your guns away. That's not true what you're saying. What Democrats are saying, and what I say on this show all the time is well-regulated. We shouldn't have these weapons of war sold to the general public. You know this better than anybody, Ed. October 1. Okay, that guy had weapons of war. He shot it through a hotel, killed a bunch of innocent people. In many of the biggest mass shootings in this country,
the thing is, if
AR-15s are used.
If one crazy nut does that, they should not disarm the rest of the population, okay? Now, you're talking about...
you keep saying disarm. I'm not saying everybody should be disarmed.
You're talking about Democrats. Listen to the Progressive Caucus in the House of Representatives. They all want to take your guns away. You never listen to them, do you? Did you ever watch MSNBC? All this Jaya Rapal, whatever her name is, AOC,
and what have they said? They want to take all your guns away?
That's
not true.
They have too many guns.
They've never said they want to take all your guns away. You're misquoting.
In a way, they're moving that way. They're thinking.
You're making an assumption that's not true.
Yeah, just listen to them.
There's not one Democrat that wants to take all your guns away. I keep repeating myself. They want an assault weapons ban, which is very different, and you take that as taking all your guns away. But let's take some more phone calls. 702-221-7283. Again, the number to call, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Mike. Mike is next up on Pushing the Limits. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I wanted to speak with Mr. Hamilton here. I'll be as respectful as I can.
Sure, go for it.
Mr. Hamilton, you unfortunately, I can't tolerate a lot of lying, and so you're really making me feel ill today. So I want to know, how did God make the United States citizens different than the rest of the world? You stated that just a little while ago. You stated that. How does that work?
Well, America is a special nation, okay, and we believe in...
I'm asking you how God made the United States citizens different. You said we're different than everybody else.
We are different.
How is that? Tell me how.
We are different because...
Are you speaking about a Christian God?
No, we have just God, because we are a free country.
We only have one God, right?
Well, yes, that's true. In the monotheistic...
And to the Republican Party, that's
well,
Donald
no,
Trump.
either we have one God or we don't. Do we have one God?
Yeah, we believe, as Christian, we believe in one
do
God.
you
But
believe, I'm asking you, do you believe we have one God
Yes,
in the
yes,
whole
of
universe?
course
made
I do.
the whole universe?
Okay,
so we got the same God. There's only one,
but
and he made everything.
There are other
He is
people that may believe differently. There are other
Now,
people...
tell me how he made us different, the United States citizens different.
Okay.
Tell me how he did that.
By way of what we see around us, the United States Constitution is proof that God made us a free country, that God wants us to lead the way, to fight evil in the world, to fight communism, to fight Nazism. Okay, because...
So did you think, like Nazi, Nazi Hitler and Nazi Germany?
Yeah.
Did you think that was a good political system, Hitler?
No.
Like Hitler?
God told us to fight something like that. We fight.
Well, you know what?
We fight communism. We fight.
You know what you remind me of? You remind me of Nazi propagandists. And I knew an old German lady. I don't know if she's still alive. She told me that Trump reminds her of Hitler, and I agree with her.
Well,
it's
a free country. It's a free country.
You remind me of a Nazi propagandist, and I think that's...
Well, let me say this. Let me say this, and I'll let both of you respond to this. Donald Trump did say, allegedly, that Adolf Hitler did, quote, some good things. Now, I would hope, Ed, that you wouldn't agree with that statement. Can we at least start there? I know you don't agree with Adolf Hitler. And
I did not hear that, but I agree with that statement, what you said.
You wouldn't agree?
I would not agree,
Okay, good. So we start there. Now, here's where listen, nobody hates Donald Trump maybe more than I and Melania Trump do. But with that being said, the reason why I don't compare him to Adolf Hitler, I'm not sure he wants to kill 7 million Jews, but I will say this. He does admire evil, murderous dictators. He writes love letters to Kim Jong-un. He pats the ass of Vladimir Putin. And then he had a dictator that he invited and he spent some time with, who, by the way, is not for democracy. So I do think Donald Trump looks up to and admires. And I want to play some audio, if I may. Then, you don't have it? Okay. But I will tell you this.
Biden does the same thing with Maduro in Venezuela. He's giving Maduro in Venezuela money to get the oil. So Biden is, kowtowing to dictators also.
Has Joe Biden ever wrote love letters to evil, murderous
I
dictators?
don't know that. I don't know that.
He hasn't. That's why you don't know of it, because he hasn't. Has Joe Biden ever sided with Vladimir Putin on anything the way Donald Trump has?
Well, he did in the past when he was in the U.S. Senate.
Can I say one more thing?
He was friends with him.
Go ahead.
I want to say one more thing, and I'll hang up because I'm really tired of talking to you.
Sorry about that.
Mr. Hamilton, every time you don't have an answer, you start gaslighting, telling us about what Biden did, Pelosi, and all this stuff when you don't have an answer. And you've had no answer many times, so I'm really, please stop that. It's very amateurish and it's stupid.
No,
so
I'm doing comparison. I'm doing comparison.
I respect your right to your opinion, but
thank you.
You are ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
Right. Well, he's got a right to his opinion as well. I just wish that we would have. When I talk to a Trump supporter, it could be Ed, it could be anybody. You don't like Biden's policies, you like some of Trump's policies, okay. But I just think where we disagree tremendously on is the fact that you're not even willing to admit that Donald Trump is just not a good guy. He's a bad guy. He's a guy that has been disloyal to his family, to every woman he's ever been with. He attacks women on looks. If you don't believe the E. Jean Carroll case, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. There's 25 other women that have accused him of sexual assault or rape, including his ex-wife. And I just don't know how any family person could get up in the morning and say, hey, that's the guy that I support. I just don't get that. Why do you make so many excuses for this?
Without President Trump coming back to the White House, America will be a Soviet communist country.
I know you keep saying that, but there's
yes,
no
it
evidence.
Will be.
There's no evidence to back that up.
Plenty of evidence.
I heard the
plenty
same.
of evidence.
Listen, I heard a lot of people like you
Our
talking about
constitutional rights are being eroded in the Congress and everything.
Ed, I can tell
the
you,
Justice Department is prosecuting Republicans.
They prosecute Democrats too, by the way.
Yeah,
but
I
heard the same thing that people said that you're saying when Obama took office the first week. He said the same. People said the same thing that you were saying, and guess what? Didn't happen. Didn't happen.
Because there was no prosecution from the Justice Department.
What did Obama do that would resort to prosecution?
What did he do? You guys made Trump the way he is because he is the most prosecuted and persecuted human being in American history.
Okay, let's go with that.
They spent $40 million in the Mueller investigation.
Let's
$40 million.
What would you say?
The 91 indictments by the fake, grand jury.
It's me. What would you say? See, before Donald Trump was president, thousands and thousands of lawsuits before he ever began political life. What's your excuse on that? I'm just curious.
He's a businessman.
Oh, so every businessman has sued thousands of times?
He's a successful businessman.
Right. No, he's not.
You're getting sued all the time.
So if he's so successful, why do all his businesses file for bankruptcy?
Because he's being attacked by the Justice Department. And
so before he ran for president.
Letitia James
gotcha.
and the
so
Attorney
Ed,
General.
I'm talking about before he ran for president. Thousands of lawsuits, many of his businesses filed for bankruptcy. What is your excuse for that? If your excuse is it's the justice system going after him because it's political, what about before he ran for president?
Okay,
I just
in that
gave
case,
you
in business, bankruptcy is a part of
thousands,
the procedure.
Thousands of civil lawsuits.
I don't know about that
Well,
one.
of course you don't. Yeah. Thousands of civil lawsuits. And let me ask you another question. I'm sure you've heard of the Parkland Five, right?
Yes.
5 people of color that were wrongfully accused.
Correct.
Donald Trump spent some money and took a page out of the New York Times saying that they all deserve the electric chair. Now, obviously, all those men were exonerated. Not only did Donald Trump not retract, he didn't apologize. So let me ask you a question. When 3 white people lynch a black person, why doesn't Donald Trump take a page out of the newspaper and say all 3 of them deserve the death penalty? Why does he choose to take the 5 minorities? Is that just a coincidence? Because I'm sure you don't think Donald Trump is racist. Why didn't he ever apologize for that? Those 5 men are innocent men. They were wrongfully accused. He took out a page and he said they deserve the death penalty. By the way, he still feels that way. Why won't you call that out?
I don't know if he feels that way.
He's never apologized. He's never taken back his statements. Why won't he do that for white people that commit atrocious crimes? Why is it only black people?
Do you know that the Democrat Party is the one of
there you go again. Whataboutism.
Racist country.
Whataboutism.
All the lynching was done by Democrats in the past. Lynching was done by Democrats. Ku Klux Klan was Democrats.
Well, here's some audio of Donald Trump, who you support, talking about Adolf Hitler, I believe. Here he is. I guess we have the wrong audio there. Okay, we have the wrong audio there. But I guess the point I'm trying to make here is you always bring up a Democrat or Joe Biden when I ask you a direct question about. You can ask me any direct question you want about Joe Biden, and I won't bring up Donald Trump, and I'll answer it. But when I bring up something despicable, and I wish he would at least admit what he did was wrong, taking out a page in the New York Times saying these men deserve the death penalty. He didn't just say they deserve to go to jail for the rest of their life. The death penalty. They've been proven through DNA that they've all been exonerated. Never an apology. That has nothing to do with the Democrats.
I'm not aware of that.
Well, okay. All right, let's take some phone calls. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Vivian. Hi, Vivian.
Hi, how you doing today?
Good. What's on your mind?
I just got to say, I am so happy that I live in New York because there's no way I could put up with this guy.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what his problem is.
Wait, me? Or, wait, me? Wait, are you talking about me?
No, not you, Bryce. Not Brian. I'm not talking about you, Brian. I'm talking about your guest.
Okay, I know. Go ahead.
His views are totally crazy. He has no understanding of anything. I mean, it's like he has this tunnel vision of whatever he thinks, and that's it. And to keep going against the Democrats or independents or anybody who doesn't believe in what he believes in is totally wrong, because you don't even have an open mind to even look on the other side or anything. And me, myself personally, will never, ever forgive Trump for what he did for COVID, because I had relatives, I had people who died from his lack of correct response. Yes, he might have had the help with the cure and everything and let it go on and stuff, but he still, his response, telling people to bleach and all this little crazy stuff he said, that tens of thousands of people died because of him.
All right, Ed, what would you say to that? Go ahead.
Ma'am, did you have the vaccine? Did you take the vaccine?
Of course I did.
Because the vaccine is it is a Trump vaccine. Without the Trump vaccine, you will have tens of millions of people dying. So if you took the vaccine, you have Donald Trump in you.
All right, well, let me...
I don't have Donald Trump on me. What I have is the scientists who came up with it.
I can tell you.
He came up with the vaccine.
He's a person who signed on a piece of paper telling them to do their job.
I can tell you
that.
I can tell you one person that hasn't had Donald Trump in them for years, and that would be Melania Trump. But that would be a terrible joke. But the truth of the matter is that every former living president, Ed, did a commercial about the vaccines, trying to get people to take the vaccine. Do you know the one living current former president that refused?
Did it in secret.
You know who refused to be in that commercial? George W. Bush was in that commercial. Barack Obama was in that commercial. Donald Trump refused to be in the commercial. And you know why, because I asked you this question. Politics. Because Donald Trump chose politics over saving lives. You can't give Donald Trump credit for it and then doing everything in private, and all these right-wing idiots out there that are not physicians that say the vaccines are poison, some of them dead. Herman Cain, by the way, who was a huge Trump supporter, died from getting COVID, and he got it, and it was proven he got it because he got sick a couple days later from going to one of Donald Trump's rallies. Do you know Donald Trump, if you think he cares so much about the American people, Ed, which I know you do, he made people during COVID sign waivers that basically said, you can't sue us if you die from COVID. And meanwhile, you want to attack Joe Biden for being in the bunker.
No, that signature was needed. Otherwise, that was the Operation Warp Speed. Without that signature, the drug company cannot experiment.
You know what wasn't needed?
That was his job. His job was to protect us. His job was to see that we.
He has to produce the vaccine.
So
he has to produce the vaccine.
He needed to do that. That was something that he needed to do. Then he denied it. He denied, and he, like I said.
First of all, let me just say something. Donald Trump couldn't produce a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He didn't produce anything. He just signed his name on something.
No, that was Operation Warp Speed. Because he's a businessman, he knows how to make the job in 2 years instead of 10 years.
Okay.
That was the Operation Warp Speed.
No, all he knows how to do.
Democrats don't know how to make Warp Speed program.
No, that's not true. If it wasn't for the Democrats, a lot of the stuff that's going around in the world, the things that we have would not be there, because we're the ones who implementing things by saying, "Oh, we need this, we need that." I don't see the Republicans doing anything but saying,
"Yes,
oh, let's get rid of entitlements." How are you going to call it an entitlement when it's something that we put money in every paycheck, and you can call it an entitlement and try to take it away from us? But yet, still, the people in government who are, when they leave office, don't they still get a salary when they leave office?
They do. Yes, they do. You're absolutely right.
Ma'am, do you want to live under communism, ma'am? Do you want to live under communism?
We're not living under communism now. Joe Biden's the president.
Biden will bring communism.
That's what I heard about Barack Obama.
We're struggling every day, paycheck to paycheck.
I know you are. You're on the right side of history. Unfortunately, I have to go because I'm up against the clock, but I really appreciate your call. If there's anything that Donald Trump will bring is dictatorship. He's a wannabe dictator himself. But, I will say this in closing, because we're up against the clock here. I appreciate anybody that is at least willing to have this conversation. There are some MAGA Republicans that refuse to do this show. I don't know if they're afraid of me or they don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be challenged by some listeners. And not every listener is a Democrat or a Joe Biden supporter, by the way. But I do give you credit for coming in studio and willing to have this conversation, because there's a lot of fellow Republicans, and I would like to call them cowards. Nobody has to do this show, but when you refuse to do this show, not because you're just not interested, but because you don't want to be challenged, then I think that is what makes somebody not a patriot, but the opposite of a patriot. I would say a coward. So, Mr. Hamilton, I do appreciate you being here and coming on and having the conversation with me. And you are welcome back again down the road if you would like to do so again before the elections. I'd love to have you back.
Mr. Shapiro, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I love the fastball. I love the hit, the Mike Tyson type hit. That's fine. That way I'm a better
I do want to
candidate.
get one of those shirts.
Oh, thank you. I'm a better candidate. Eddie Hamilton, U.S. Senator, Republican. You can find me on the ballot, in the middle of the ballot, Hamilton, and I have a nickname designation on the ballot. It is called Eddynomics. So if you see Eddynomics on the ballot, that's me, because I am a Nevada first. I will undo inflation because prices are just too damn high for our family.
Well,
I will bring back the $2 a gallon gas at the pump. Thank you.
I don't know how you're going to be able to do that, but I'd be
I will do it. I'm a manufacturing engineer. I know how to build factories.
All right. Well, there are a lot of good magicians in Las Vegas. So if you can make gas $2 a gallon, Mr. Hamilton, I do appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. We will see all of you tomorrow. The time goes by very fast. Same time, same place. Have a great day. And by the way, check me out on YouTube, which is at PTL Radio Show. Subscribe to my YouTube page at PTL Radio Show. It's free, where I put extra content up there. Have a great day, everybody.